Hey there designers, Renee here with a tutorial for a whimsical fairy tale poster. We'll use Illustrator to lay out vector elements, explore gradients, use Pathfinder, dabble in the pen tool, and much more. Follow along by downloading the freebie pack at designcuts.com. We'll also be using two fonts freely available online, Germanica by Paul Lloyd and Agraloy by Gluck. Open Illustrator and go to File New. In the New Document dialog box, enter a document name, then a width of 18 inches and a height of 24 inches. Click OK to create the document. Select the Rectangle tool and draw a rectangle that covers the entire artboard. Open the color palette and enter CMYK values of 95, 92, 69, 48 for the fill color and none for the stroke color. Open the Swatches palette and click the new swatch icon. Name the swatch Background Purple and press OK. In the Layers palette, double-click the layer name and rename it Background. In the Freebies folder, find the file from Lisa Glanz and open it in Illustrator. I'm going to open from the actual pack so you can see some of the other things that come with it. Select the large teal shape and press Command-C to copy. In the main layout file, press Command-V to paste. At the top of the artboard, next to W, enter 20 inches and click the link icon to maintain aspect ratio. In the color palette, change the fill color to 100, 98, 70, 62. Position at the bottom of the artboard so the entire bottom half hangs off the bottom of the artboard. This shape is going to become a mountain range, so we'll add some snow caps to the peaks. Select the Ellipse tool. Draw a small circle overlapping the top of each peak of the shape. It's okay if there aren't perfect circles or if they overlap unevenly. It kind of adds to the realism. Switch to the main selection tool and hold Shift while selecting each circle. With all four selected, open the color palette and change the fill color to white just to make it easier for us to see what we're doing. Then go to Object, Compound Path, Make, so they'll be treated like one single object. Click once on the dark purple mountain shape to select it, and go to Object, Path, Offset Path. In the dialog box, enter negative 0.25 inches and press OK. Hold Shift and also select the group of white circles. With both selected, open the Pathfinder palette. Under Shape Modes, select the icon for Intersect. Now open the Brushes palette. At the top right of the palette, click the small downward-facing arrow to access the flyout menu. Select the Open Brush Library, Artistic, Chalk Charcoal Pencil. Select the brush name Charcoal Feather. Now grab the Eraser tool. You'll use the left and right brackets on the keyboard to decrease and increase the size of the eraser. Start in the middle of one of the snow caps and brush down and to the right to create the illusion of depth. We'll do this 2 to 3 times for each one. They'll each be a little bit different. In the swatches palette, change both the fill color and the stroke color to background purple. Next up, we're going to create some clouds. Select the blob brush tool. Again, use the left and right bracket keys on the keyboard to decrease or increase the size of the brush. For the clouds, we want a pretty big brush. To be able to see what you're doing, go ahead and change your fill color to white. And then swirl the mouse in big shapes across the top of the artboard. Repeat twice more to create 2 smaller cloud shapes below the original, one on the left and one on the right. Use the main selection tool while holding Shift to select all 3 clouds. In the swatches palette, select the white to black gradient swatch. Open the gradient palette and next to angle, enter -90 degrees. Double-click on the white slider arrow on the left side of the gradient slider. In the color picker, click the small downward-facing arrow on the top right and select CMYK. Enter CMYK values of 100, 98, 70, 22. Double-click the black slider arrow on the right side of the gradient slider, and this time when the color picker opens, click the swatches icon on the left side of the palette. From here, select the background purple swatch. In the Layers palette, lock the background layer by clicking the empty space between the eye icon and the layer thumbnail. At the bottom of the palette, click the Create a New Layer icon, double-click the new layer name and rename it Border. In the Freebies folder, double-click the file from Wings Art to open it in Illustrator. Use the main selection tool to select the tall blue vine. Press Command-C to copy. In the main layout file, press Command-V to paste. At the top of the artboard, make sure the link icon between width and height is on, then enter a height of 19.5 inches. Position the vine on the bottom left side of the artboard so the bottom curl of the vine hangs off the bottom edge of the artboard. Now go back into the Wings Art file and copy the flourish by selecting it and pressing Command-C. Then paste it into the layout file using Command-V. Hover over the corner handle until you see the double-sided curved rotation arrow. Hold Shift, then click and drag down to the right until the shape's rotated a full 180 degrees. At the top of the artboard, change the height to 5.5 inches. And then position in the top left corner of the artboard. With the corner flourish selected, go to Object, Transform, Reflect. In the dialog box, choose Vertical Axis and press Copy. Hold Shift, then click and drag the copy to the right corner of the artboard. Now select the Group Selection tool. Click once on the darker blue color of the large vine. Go to Select, Same Fill Color. This will add dark blue portions of the corner elements to the selection. In the color palette, enter CMYK values of 100, 28, 70, 26. At the bottom of the swatches palette, click the new swatch icon and name the color dark green. Now use the Group Selection tool to select the light blue color on the vine. Go to Select, Same Fill Color. In the color palette, change the CMYK value to 128.70. In the swatches palette, click the new swatch icon and name this one light green. Now use the group selection tool to select any of the purple section on the corner pieces. Go to select same fill color, and in the swatches palette, select light green. Now switch to your main selection tool. Open the Lisa Glanz file again, and this time copy the sketched leaves. I'm going to show you here where I got them from originally, but in the Freebies folder they're already separated out for you. Press Command-C to copy, then paste into the main layout file. In the color palette, enter CMYK values of 75, 28, 70, 0. Increase the width to 5 inches. Use the corner handle and hold Shift to rotate the leaves 90 degrees. Position them at the bottom of the artboard to the right of the tall vine. In the Wings Art Freebies file, copy the small section of leafy vine, then paste it into the main layout. Use the Group Selection tool to select a darker green color of the vine, and in the Swatches palette, select a fill color of dark green. Select one of the yellow areas on the small vine and go to Select Same Fill Color. In the Swatches palette, select light green for the fill color. Switch to the main selection tool, and at the top of the artboard, change the height to 4.5 inches. Hover over the corner handle to access the rotation tool, hold Shift and rotate 90 degrees. Position at the bottom of the artboard to the right of the sketched leaves. Hold Shift and select both the sketched leaves and the small vine we've just positioned. With both selected, hold Option and Shift, then click and drag to the right to create copies. Now open the Round Icons file from the Freebies folder. Select the tree branch, press Command-C to copy, then paste into the main layout using Command-V. Hold Shift and use the corner handle to rotate the branch 90 degrees. And at the top of the artboard, change the height to 10 inches. In the Swatches palette, select dark green for the fill color. Position in the bottom right corner of the artboard. Select one of the sketched leaves groups. Press Command-C to copy, then Command-V to paste. Use the corner handle to rotate to the left, then position to the left of the tall branch on the right side of the artboard, so we get just a hint of leaves over on this side. We'll finish off our border with some small flowers scattered here and there. In the Wings Art Freebies file, select the small purple flower, press Command-C to copy, then paste into the main layout file with Command-V. Position at the bottom left of the artboard. Press Command-V to paste another copy of the flower, and position this one over the top right corner flourish. Press Command V to paste another copy, but this time hold Shift and use the corner handles to reduce the size slightly to about a ½ inch wide. Position this one toward the top of the large vine on the left side. With the smaller flower still selected, press Command C to copy it, then press Command V to paste and drag the duplicate lower down the vine. Then paste another copy of the smaller flower and position this one in the bottom right corner of the artboard. Now select one of the larger purple flowers. Hold Option and drag to the right to create a duplicate. Position the duplicate over the middle section of the sketched leaves. In the toolbar, switch to the Group Selection tool. Select just the purple section of that flower. In the color palette, change the CMYK build to 90, 72, 24, 15. Click off the flower, switch to the main selection tool and select the entire flower again. Press Command C to copy, then Command V to paste. Hold Shift and use the corner handles to reduce the size of the copy, again to about a ½ inch or smaller. Position in the bottom left corner of the artboard, then press Command C to copy. Press Command V to paste a new copy and position this one on the top left corner ornament. For our last step on the border, we'll add a shadow behind the vine elements. With the main selection tool, hold Shift and select the top corner vines, the large vine on the left side, and the large branch on the right side. Press Command C to copy, then Command F to paste in place. Go to Object, Group. We'll want to make this the same color as the mountain, so let's create a new swatch. In the Layers palette, unlock the background layer. Select the mountain and in the Swatches palette, click the new swatch icon. Name the swatch Mountain Purple. Lock the background layer and return to the border layer. Select the grouped vines, and in the swatch palette, change the fill color to Mountain Purple. On the keyboard, hold Shift and press the left arrow, then the down arrow to offset the position for the shadow. Lastly, for the shadow effect, go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back. In the Layers palette, lock the border layer. At the bottom, click the Create New Layer icon and name the new layer Text. Select the Type tool and click once in the top middle of the artboard. Type once, a line break, upon, another line break, a time. Open the character palette and change the font to Agroloi at 230 point and set the tracking to -20. Open the Paragraph palette and select Align Left. I'm also going to go ahead and make my fill color white, again just to make this easier to see for now. Switch to the Type tool. Select just the first letter of once. In the Character palette, change the font to Plain Germanica at 330 point. Select the Type tool and select the U in upon. This time, grab your eyedropper and use it to sample the O in once. Repeat the same process with the T in time. Switch back to the main selection tool and click on the text to select it. In the character palette, change the leading to 290 points. With the Type tool, click once before the A on the last line and hit the space bar to add a space before it, so it lines up better with the other lines we have here. Now select the A and the space after it, and in the character palette, change the tracking to -100. Unfortunately, it's not possible to apply a gradient directly to editable text, so we'll have to use a little bit of a workaround. You could outline the text, then apply the gradient, but generally you want to try to keep your text editable whenever you can. So click in an empty area off the artboard, switch back to the main selection tool and click on the text to select it. In the swatches palette, change both the fill and stroke colors to none. Now open the appearance palette. Click the tiny downward facing arrow at the top right of the appearance palette to access the flyout menu. In the flyout menu, select Add New Fill. Click on the arrow to the right of the thumbnail next to the fill to open a small swatch palette. At the bottom of the palette, select the far left icon, Swatch Libraries. From here, choose Gradients, Metals. In the palette that opens, select the first gradient swatch, Gold. Now open the Gradient palette. Next to Angle, enter 45 degrees. Press Command C to copy the text, then Command F to paste in place. In the Swatches palette, change the fill color to none and the stroke color to gold gradient. Now go to Type, Create Outlines. Open the stroke palette and increase the weight to 5 point. Lastly, open the gradient palette and change the angle to -45 degrees. The reason for outlining the stroke section instead of applying the gradient stroke in the appearance palette is to get a little bit more of a dramatic application of the gradient. So the gradient is just stretching across each letter instead of the entire section of text. So where the O overlaps the U looks a little bit funny, so we'll clean that up. Use your group selection tool to select only the stroked and outlined O. Click once on the outline of the O, then click again in the exact same spot to add the inner part of the path to it. Press Command C to copy, then press Delete, then Command F to paste in place. Go to Object, Path, Outline, Stroke. Now click once on the top portion of the U in a pond that overlaps with the O. Press Command C to copy, then click off the word into an empty space and press Command F to paste in place. Again, go to Object, Path, Outline, Stroke. Use the Group Selection tool to select the inside of the path and press Delete. Now switch to your selection tool. Hold Shift and select both the outline section of the U and the outline stroked O. Open the Pathfinder palette and under Shape Modes, select -front. Alternatively, we could have just set up the word once separately from the rest of the words, and then we could have put the stroke section of the O behind the word upon. This way just kind of gave us a chance to explore some additional problem solving in Illustrator. For our last bit of decoration on the text, we'll add some ornamentation to the large capital letters to mimic the highly decorative initial caps you see in Fairytale books. Open the Lisa Glanz freebie files. You want to select the remaining ornaments. Copy those and paste them into the main layout file. You'll see here I'm pulling them from a couple of different files when you're pulling from the full bundle. The pieces of this ornament are acting as one single group. So to separate them out, I'm going to use the group selection tool, drag over the part I want to separate, copy it, delete it, then paste in place, and in this case group it together since there's more than one piece in that separate section. Now honestly, there's really no magic trick to getting these ornaments in the right place. You can follow what I've done here or experiment with completely different placement. With each ornament, make multiple copies and position on the capital O, U, and T. The key is really to change the scale, the rotation, reflect to keep each copied ornament looking unique and flowing with the shape of the letter. To rotate, hover over the corner handle, and then you can drag left or right. To reflect an object, go to Object, Transform, Reflect, choose an axis, then click OK. Of course, to change size, you'll just hover over the ornament corner handle, and if you hold Shift, you'll maintain aspect ratio while you increase or decrease the size. With the main selection tool, select all of the ornaments we just added over the letters. In the Swatches palette, change the fill color to background purple. In the Round Icons freebie file, copy the banner and paste it into the main layout file. At the top of the artboard, increase the width to 7.75 inches and position it below the title. Switch to the eyedropper tool and sample the blue color of the tiny flowers in the border. Switch to the Group Selection tool. Select the outermost path of the banner and press Command-C to copy, then click on an empty area to deselect and press Command-F to paste in place. Open the Gradient palette. Click on the gradient thumbnail to apply the gradient. On the slider, double-click the far left arrow. Change the CMYK values to 90, 72, 24, 5. Double-click the far right arrow and change the CMYK values to 55, 10, 20, 0. Change the angle to 90 degrees. Now go to Object, Arrange, Send Backward. Next, we'll create a path inside the banner for text. Select the Pin tool. Click once on the bottom left inside the banner to create the first point. For the second point, click on the bottom middle inside the banner and drag to the right as you click to create a curved point. Then click again at the bottom right inside the banner to create your end point. If you need to tweak the points, you can use the Direct Selection tool to move each individual point and adjust curves by pulling on the handles. Now select the Type on a Path tool. Click once at the beginning of the path and type Storybook Hour. In the character palette, set the font to any old style serif font. I'm using old style 1 at 64 point. I'm also going to reset my tracking to 0. In the color palette, change the CMYK build to 8840. Now switch to your regular type tool. Click once on the artboard under the banner and type Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Zuidzonda Public Library. In the character palette, use the same font as the banner, but about half the size. I'm using old style at 36 point. In the color palette, change the CMYK values to 15, 35, 90, 0. This is just a nice gold color that complements the gold gradient of the title. Then open your paragraph palette and select Align Center. Now we'll add a little bit more decoration to the banner. In the Layers palette, unlock the border layer, use your main selection tool to select one of the smaller vine pieces and press Command-C to copy, then relock the border layer. Click on the text layer to make it active and press Command-V to paste the vine section. Position it so it hangs over the top right edge of the banner. Press Command-V again to paste another copy of the vine section. Use the corner handle to rotate 180 degrees. Position over the bottom left side of the banner. Select both vine sections, then go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back. Our last little touch for the banner will be a flower. So unlock the border layer and select one of the smaller purple flowers. Press Command-C to copy, relock the border layer and click on the text layer to make it active, then press Command-V to paste. Position the flower over the vine at the bottom left side of the banner. In the Layers palette, lock the text layer. Create a new layer and name it Bird and Sky. In the Round Icons freebie file, copy the hummingbird and paste it into the main layout file. At the top of the artboard, change the width to 3.2 inches. Go to Object, Transform Reflect, choose Vertical Axis, and press OK. Position in the space to the left of the U and A in the title. In the color palette, change the fill color to 90, 72, 24, 0. Now switch to the Group Selection tool. Select the outermost path of the hummingbird and press Command-C to copy, then click in an empty area to deselect and press Command-F to paste in place. Use the eyedropper tool to sample the blue gradient in the banner. Now go to Object, Arrange, Send Backward. Again, in the Round Icons file, copy the star and then paste it into the main layout file. In the Swatches palette, change the fill color to white. Sprinkle 5 or 6 stars in the sky. Vary the sizes. Focus mostly on the top and the right side. For our last element, we'll create a crescent moon. Select the Ellipse tool. Click once on the artboard and in the pop-up dialog box enter a width and height of 2 inches. Then press OK. Hold Option, then drag down and to the left to make a copy of the circle. Hold Shift and select both circles with the main selection tool. In the Pathfinder palette under Shape Modes, select -front. In the color palette, change the fill color to 12, 10, 65, 0. Then position the moon at the top right of the artboard. And we're done! We've created a whimsical fairy tale poster while exploring a ton of different techniques and solutions in Illustrator. Whether it's your outcome for this tutorial or something new, head over to our Facebook page and share it with us. Let us know what you think in the comments below and give us a thumbs up if you like the tutorial. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/designcuts to get more video tutorials and regular updates, or visit us at designcuts.com. Thanks for watching. Till next time!